Hi, Paul here from Photo Genius. Make sure you watch this video if you've got a Nikon camera, because I've got some great camera tips to share with you. So this is a follow-on to an earlier video that I did called Cool Camera Tips for Beginners. I'll put a link at the end of this video. But in today's video, I've got some more great tips that are going to show you how to get better results from your digital camera. Now let's start with the I button, which is just here. This button allows us to change some of the key functions on the camera and is extremely useful.
So what I want to do here is make some changes to some of the features shown on the bottom of the LCD screen. So I press the I button, located bottom left on the Nikon D3400. I then move over to this multi-selector tool, which is a bit like a joystick, and I can use this to navigate through the features up and down. You'll notice the current feature turns yellow and a description of the feature appears above. So if I wish to make a change to white balance, I navigate over to the left here, and then when I'm there I press the OK button, which takes me into the white balance submenu. I make the change. I'm going to select auto white balance, press the OK button, and you'll see the feature has changed.
So using the I button, we can very quickly and effectively get to the function we wish to change without having to go through the camera's lengthy menu. Now next up is the command dial, also known as the command wheel, which is a rotary dial on the back of this Nikon D3400, but with some cameras it can be found on the front or possibly even the top.
Turning this wheel in the auto mode does absolutely nothing. But when you're in the manual modes, you're able to get more creative, and the command wheel can do a number of things.
In this mode, turn the wheel and you'll notice a number changing on the screen on the back of your camera. This is called the shutter speed, and this number tells you how long your shutter will be open for after you've pressed the shutter button on the top of the camera. Dialing to the right will give you a larger number, which is a faster shutter speed. If you dial to the left, you'll get a slow shutter speed. If you dial far enough to the left, you'll get the very slow shutter speeds.
Now let's look at changing the aperture. Note the button on the top of the camera with an aperture symbol next to it. If we hold down this button and turn the command wheel at the same time, you can change the aperture. Dialing to the right for the larger f numbers, dialing to the left for the smaller f numbers.
Now please note, apertures can be confusing because of the numbering system, so Nikon have come up with a great solution. You'll see on the back of your LCD screen an aperture symbol, and this symbol will change shape. It will become bigger or smaller depending on the F number that you select. Now let's see how we can use the command wheel this time to change the camera's ISO. Now on most recent Nikon cameras, you'll find a function button. On the D3400, it's around the front of the body, located just next to the side of the lens.
So to change the ISO, all you do is hold down the function button and turn the command wheel. Dialing to the right for the larger ISO, dialing to the left for a lower ISO.
So the command dial is fantastic because it allows us to control the three key things that affect our exposure: aperture, shutter, ISO, commonly referred to as the exposure triangle. Now this can be a little bit confusing at first, so my recommendation is stay out of auto, try the manual modes, experiment, have some fun, and of course watch some of our videos for more great tips. And finally, if we look at the back of the camera once more, we find a button with a question mark next to it. Using this button, you can access the camera's inbuilt manual.
So if we press the I button here as before, and navigate over to, say, white balance, we can now press the question mark button and the camera's inbuilt manual tells us what the white balance will do. We'll now navigate over to, say, ISO, and once again we can press the question mark button and the camera tells us now what the ISO function of the camera can do.
So the question mark button is great because it's just like having the camera's manual with you at all times. And this is fantastic when you've got a brand new camera and you're just trying to get to grips with all the different buttons. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Now if you're a Nikon user in particular, there's another video that we've put out called Cool Camera Tips for Beginners. It's essential viewing and I'll put a link over here. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing as I'm putting out new videos every single week. I hope to see you soon. See ya.